What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your daily astrology horoscope for Monday, October 3rd, 2022. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. Truly appreciate you, as always. Hope everybody had a great weekend and said rabbit, rabbit, and happy October. And here we are. It's quite a month. It's exciting, though. I don't know. It's exciting. It's definitely going to be a month, but hey, I just feel like life is a life, and you know what? We're kind of lucky to be a part of this one. What's Monday look like? Enough of that. Well, Monday we are going to see that Sun come to 10 degrees of Libra. Venus is within a 5-degree orb now, so that's definitely tight with their conjunction as they pace Libra here. They're going to make their exact conjunction at 29 Libra, just for anybody's, if you wanted to know. Just relationships are a very interesting thing right now. They're getting brought up very intensely, and I don't know, it's the sun kind of burning out Venus. We can't see Venus, so it's interesting because it can make us like hyper focused on how we can create and illuminate relationships, but it's also kind of a big illumination on where relationships are out of balance here in Libra, where they're not in alignment, where things just aren't working, and we're trying to figure out what that's going to look like this October, coming into Scorpio season, where we're trying to really commit to something and, people that we desire, or just what we're merging with in life and going after our deep desires. But it's going to meet with the South Node, and we have eclipses, so that's got its own things that we'll talk about as time goes on as well. That moon's coming off that third quarter square to the sun, but now it's going to trine over to Mercury, which is now direct. It's going to trine over to Uranus. It's going to trine, it's kind of coming off the trine to the North Node. That was more last night. And it's going to meet with Pluto. And it's in a quincunx to Mars. So the moon is definitely going through, its fair share of trials here, but it's also going through, a lot of positive aspects with the trine. Over to Uranus and over to Mercury. I think we don't want to suppress the way we're feeling, especially if they are just about what we're doing, what we're going after, being able to express our emotions. I think that it's interesting having all this Uranian aspects, because with all the relationship stuff that's going on with the Sun and Venus, I really do think that like Uranus is kind of shifting things and taking things in different directions, but it's like using that trine to like go after the really solid things in life and to make exciting changes with exciting people. And where things aren't exciting, or where things, don't feel like they're going into a future, that's really important too. But we definitely want to express our feelings and kind of express where we envision things going for ourselves, and, in a way that makes sense to ourselves. It's very like getting back to an individualized aspect here with Uranus, and even the quincunx to Mars is like, you got to go after your truth. Mars is going to 21 degrees, which kind of crazy. Mars, will go retrograde on the 30th of this month. So that's at 25 Gemini. So that's 4 degrees that we're going to see Mars moving over the next, what is it, the third? So the next, 26 days or whatever. Very slow as it's approaching its retrograde. So like, it's just, I feel like we don't like going slow. Like Mars doesn't want to. It wants to charge. It wants to make quick decisions. I think we're learning throughout this whole retrograde, and from now until March, like we're really figuring out how to do that, but it's got to be in alignment with your like subjective, individualized truth. And today could be a day where maybe we're getting a taste of that in some facet, especially with the South Node at 13 degrees. It is making a biquintile over to Mars. Pluto's making a biquintile over to Mars, and they're also in a quintile. So that's called a golden yod. It's a very rare one, and it's a slow one too. So it kind of adds to the rareness of it too. So it's just kind of sitting there, but it's this very special place of like, it's not easy to make decisions. It's not easy to kind of cut away things that don't fit with your environment right now, or making decisions and kind of being curious and just acting spontaneously. But especially with the South Node in Scorpio and dealing with Pluto, it's like, gosh, we can really want to hold on to, something of the past, something that isn't about a future, something that, is kind of pulling on us backwards at the top of this mountain of Capricorn here, with Pluto finishing up and getting ready to go direct soon on the 8th. And then approaching, this big ingress into Aquarius. So we're at this top of this mountain, and I think that we're realizing that we can't take everything up. It's almost like we brought too much on the backpacking trip, and we got to shed a layer if we're going to make it to the top, but we've already gone so far. There's like no way we're just going to turn around and stop now because we have a little bit too much gear. It's like, okay, I'm taking this out. I'm already this far. But a lot of it has to deal with people and relationships and groups and people. And even Saturn, now at 18 degrees, 1854 squaring Uranus at 1816. That's a tight orb square that we're in with Saturn and Uranus for this final, square. No, it's not going to be exact, but this thing's intense. And it is breaking the barrier. It's breaking the structure of how we commit to others, of how we commit to ourselves and the frequency that we're going on in the futures, and really being an individual. And I think that that's where we have to be liberated here. Is sometimes, to fit into a group, you have to really find yourself. And a lot of this, and in Libra season, like we're dealing with so much other people's stuff, you got to remember who you are, and just be able to act on that, and to take a different approach. I think that's too. And the moon's going to finish off the day meeting with Pluto. It's a kind of in-depth day of like really looking at where we're going and who we're going there with, and being able to let go of things because of like a spontaneous sort of notion that you just have to try something different if you're not getting the liberation in life that you desire, wherever that's coming from. It's like, gosh, I can't commit to this in my life anymore. I just need to commit to something I love. I just need to commit to something that's shaking things up in the right way. And that's where I think we can find some really solid, valuable connections with people from within ourselves, and just really like, doing what's necessary. Maybe it's something that we've just never done before. And it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do this. This is a shift that feels right. This is a person that feels right. These are people that feel right. This is a job that feels right. Like a lot of it's like an inner depth feeling, and it's being able to express those feelings in, a particular way that does make sense, and that is, coming across, not too harsh, because I don't think we want to do that. And, I would say even with Mars in this T-square, it's 3 degrees away from Mercury that's now direct, and it's also 2 degrees away from its square to Neptune. So we're really, in that as well, of a lot of pressure on this Mars, and being able to act and do things without this really diluted aspect of like, oh, I don't know. I gotta make sure everything's gonna work out perfectly, or I'll go backwards and I'll just fall off this mountain. And, we're not gonna fall off the mountain, but we have to make progress forward if we're gonna get up it. So it's definitely like a deeper notion of getting one step in front of the other here. And sometimes that involves, mixing the bag up, shaking things up a little bit. I feel like today brings a little bit of a shake up, but it's almost like that you got to go forward. And sometimes it is, 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. But even if that's the case, like you're always moving forward. And I think that's a good, way to look at things, is like, okay, maybe, I took so many steps forward in this, but if you take a step back and kind of figure it out more, or, see what makes more sense, then it's those next 2 steps that do progress you. So I think a lot of it is like, okay, we've all kind of taken that 1 step back. Now it's about courageously looking at the information of what's happening now to make that next 2 steps forward, because they're big 2 steps right now, and not feeling like I just can't, or stuck, or, not feeling confident. Mars square Neptune is definitely like, it lacks confidence in a lot of ways. It's very sensitive, and it's not an easy aspect by any means. So we're all kind of trying to, I think, remember we got it, and that we have this sort of higher pull and this higher guidance to what we need to do that is of a reality based of your individual life, and make it happen. It's the only way we're going to find balance this Libra season, is by initiating. It is cardinal, right? And even the moon here in cardinal, Jupiter in cardinal. Like, this is a good day to remember, like, kick Monday off with like a kickoff. Like, go for it. Like, It's time to take those 2 steps, and it's time to keep moving and really find what is of a deeper desire, what is of something you really want, instead of being like, no, I just want to stay in this because there's some illusion of comfort here. Like, there's not a lot of comfortable aspects in this chart. Like Moon, Pluto. I mean, I guess the most comfortable things like Moon, sextile Neptune, and trine over to Mercury. But still, that's just like getting out of our head a little bit and being able to just speak from a deeper notion of what we really want to commit to in Capricorn here. And, showing up to that with integrity, showing up to the day with integrity. And then knowing that, you can confidently make things happen and trust your intuition. That's the biggest thing. I think Mars square Neptune, if it's trusting its intuition, it's just making, really powerful steps. Really good changes right now. And it's kind of finding new truths every day that fit with the individual, because it is Saturn square Uranus. So it's like these, all of us as individuals have to learn how to value ourselves on a deeper playing field here so that we can break the molds of old timelines and go into new ones, right? Right. Appreciate you all in the chat. If you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough. Pretty much. I feel like we're all just relearning a lot, And that's the hard part, is that's just life, right? Like, we're always learning and growing and learning and growing. It's always when somebody, tells me they have everything figured out that I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Even when I tell myself that sometimes, like, oh, I got this totally understood. Yeah, right. I have to check myself. Like, remember, I don't know shit. That's, I think, a lot of what the collective's going through right now, too. King of Swords upright. Really knowing your direction, your path. Really just having a good, strong, powerful understanding of what's going to be more important, or what to go after that's more important, or to not focus on things that are stupid. Like, really putting your attention into what's going to get you where you want to be at, going to take you to the next level, that powerful place within you. High Priestess upright. I do think there is this like balance here, especially with the High Priestess, of being in this physical realm and being really connected and tapped into the other side, to higher dimensions of self, to intuition, to feeling. And I feel like just being in that place is going to bring more of a stronger defining place within our minds. So it's really the emotion and the intuition going straight to the mind, so that we can stop tricking ourselves and playing games with ourselves, and really get to like this center point of how to do both, and how to use that for the physical of what's really desired and what's really, making positive moves in our life. Because I think we can all make really positive moves, even if we're in a good place right now. There's still something that we can all kind of mix up and change to make things connect a little bit better, because maybe things are just a little disconnected in places, and that's a good sign of like, oh yeah, this isn't connected up there, it's not connected here, as above, so below, boom. 3 of Cups in reverse. Yeah, it's very interesting with relationships and people and friends. I think that's kind of the one of the biggest things I got from the chart, is that we're just seeing where things aren't fitting with people, or, we thought something about somebody that, things just change, and maybe it feels a little upside down with people, or maybe it feels like we are celebrating something and having a lot of fun. But either way, it's like an honest expression of emotion can go a long way within groups of people or within just people in your life, relationships in general. So it's like we got to be vulnerable. We can't just hide things right now. Like we got to express, and some of those things that we have to express maybe are a little difficult, but it's like it's the only way we're going to find sort of this peace and balance we're looking for too. I want to pull one more. Seven of Swords again. I like this card though because it's a little bit different than the traditional, right? It's Moses at the well with the farmer's daughters. Which is interesting because it's just a very different depiction of the Seven of Swords. But it's very selfless, right? Like wanting to just be of service right now. Because we have this better understanding of what we need to get more of a better relationship to ourselves, to life, to others. It's like if we do hide things right now, we're not getting, the truth out. And that's kind of what this Mars retrograde, South Node Scorpio, Pluto finishing in Capricorn, there's just a lot of truth and a lot of change taking place in the collective. And I think we have to kind of be like, okay, I'm just going to keep doing the work and keep staying grounded in myself and knowing my path. And if I'm able to not suppress feelings or hide things, everything's going to come into alignment as they need to. And it could be a lot of win-wins, actually, I think, in the end. I hope you have a lovely Monday, and I will see you all on Tuesday. Much love. Peace.